sneaking back into the U.S., setting up a secret, private meeting in Washington, D.C. with Nancy Pelosi too. It's evident that individuals, for example, the Clintons, have nearly nothing if any life outside of governmental issues. They give the feeling that they trust they were reproduced for ruling over others, and when they are deprived of the chance to do as such, they are lost. Maybe they don't accept there are any others as meriting power as are they. Whatever the reason, they are self-important, as well as are intolerable bores. Try not to look now, however, a portion of the old pack that was turned out of office because of the November decision, and additionally a couple of who stick to control frantically, are back for a social affair in Washington, D.C. Our republic is never sheltered when these individuals are getting and conjuring together what naughtiness they can do to the Constitution and the opportunities we appreciate. Mr. Obama is back in D.C. with plans to hold a private meeting for different agents featuring Eric Holder and Nancy Pelosi at a private home. Unmistakably, he has no goal of blurring from the political scene, paying little respect to how demolished his legacy has progressed toward becoming. Most likely rankled with what President Trump has done to that legacy, we can make sure that he has a plan to harm his successor to the best degree conceivable. So, it's somewhat fascinating how this was revealed. Barack Obama was caught sneaking back into the United States via Alaska, and he is hellbent on getting to Washington, D.C., for a secret meeting that was just uncovered. Reports have confirmed that Eric Holder, the former lawless Attorney General, needs Obama at this clandestine meeting, and it's all about President Donald Trump. That is all extremely unusual, and asks various inquiries. However, the primary one is, what is the reason for this meeting? Obama made a big mistake of trying to sneak back into the United States by way of Alaska, where a woman thrust her baby into his arms, and she snapped a pic. That pic made it to the internet and alerted the Trump camp that Obama was coming back, and now, they know why. We don't know about such an excess of sneaking back routine since venturing out to his home in Washington, D.C. appears an extremely unremarkable occasion. Be that as it may, this still remains an exceptional story, and we've come this far, so we'll chomp. What's this about? Since the jig was up, Obama's people went to CNN to make an announcement. Obama will head the fundraiser for the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, NDRC, at a private home in Washington that will also be attended by House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, D. California, and will be hosted by former Attorney General Eric Holder, CNN reported Monday. Notwithstanding the charged explanations behind Mr. Obama's clearly meandering course in getting to Washington, D.C., what's the major ordeal? After further investigation, it is quite a big deal. In fact, this blown secret meeting is the beginning of the former Obama administration's plot to defeat Trump in 2020. The National Democratic Redistricting Committee, NDRC, is what Obama confessed in the past is his main focus, his number one priority. In October 2016, Obama identified the NDRC as its primary political focus following his final term in office. Where he will be most politically engaged will be at the state legislative level, with an eye on redistricting after 2020, White House political director David Simons told Politico. All things considered, at any rate, the motivation behind the meeting bodes well. The thought is to play with the limits in the states, keeping in mind the end goal to get the right blend of voters in each area so as to prevent President Trump from winning in the Electoral College in 2020. Gerrymandering is the term. For the humor, we can read the propaganda released by an Obama spokesman, restoring fairness to our democracy by advocating for fairer, more inclusive district maps around the country is a priority for, now former, President Obama, said Kevin Lewis, a spokesman for the former president. According to CNN, the event marks Obama's first foray into politics since departing the White House on January 20. None of this comes as any shock to President Trump or his group. Indeed, they would need to be express political bozos not to expect this. Also, if Donald Trump is as proactive as he has turned out to be, he as of now has his kin taking a shot at this. Mr. Obama has a gigantic measured sense of self, so obviously, he will endeavor to accomplish an overwhelming picture. This is not to state he is without impact or ought to be disregarded. Yet, how about we not freeze right now? All things considered, Barack battled to beat Donald Trump, and look where we're at now. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. Mad World News. Look what President Trump just defunded. As President Trump pushes ahead with his belt-fixing measures keeping in mind the end goal to shrivel the national budget plan, there are certain to be some extremely agitated groups, who are accustomed to getting normal implantations of assets from the government. The vast majority of them are Islamic associations professedly devoted to keeping youthful Muslims from getting radicalized and getting to be jihadis. Actually, President Trump is doubtful about the viability of such projects. Not only did Trump cancel the traditional iftar dinner hosted at the White House to stamp the finish of the Islamic celebration of Ramadan, he has instructed the Department of Homeland Security to quit financing Islamic associations that Trump fondled weren't holding their end of the understanding. Breitbart, administration officials have eliminated 2016 plans to fund Islamic groups allied to former President Barack Obama and declined to schedule a 2017 Islamic iftar dinner where those groups were able to show their political influence to the ambassadors of wealthy Islamic countries. The turnaround was made public on Friday when the Department of Homeland Security announced a revised list of organizations that receive DHS funds to help prevent young Muslims from becoming jihadis. The new list was replaced by the Obama list announced on January 13, 2017, and it dropped a $800,000 grant for an Islamic seminary in Los Angeles, and a $393,000 grant for a related organization, the Muslim Public Affairs Council Foundation. The foundation is a spin-off of the DC-based Muslim Public Affairs Council, whose leaders were frequent advisors to Obama and his deputies, where they lobbied for a national strategy of letting semi-segregated Islamic political communities and groups, but not the FBI, play the leading role in the fight against Islamic terrorism. Secretary Kelly's reasoning is sound. Kelly explained his new pro-integration strategy in a June 22 event held in Congress, where he acknowledged that Islamic terrorists are acting for the sincere religious reasons, saying, "They are out there doing what they think is their religion and think it is what they should do. What I have chosen to do is to take what little money I have in this regard and give it to what I consider to be the time-proven things, law enforcement from an outreach point of view and communities developing relationships. So that there is an open line of communication so they know if they see this, advocacy or preparation for violence, happening in the home or they see it happening, that is to say, the move towards radicalism, or they see it happening in the churches or mosques. They know to call someone before that person typically crosses the line." Probably, President Trump needs to evacuate any government financial help that possibly savage Islamic groups are getting under the appearance of counteracting savagery. Furthermore, we've seen a lot of those. How frequently do we know about FBI attacks on Muslim mosques that are loaded with immense weapon stores? Trump is exhibiting that he has each goal of bringing back America's greatness if the furious left will simply give him the open door. That implies taking out dangers to American power and security that Obama permitted to develop amid his organization. Trump will require each ounce of our help to finish that. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. Breitbart. $2.1 million illegals in panic mode after Trump's DHS secretary issues shocking announcement. No one thought President Trump would dare, but he did. As Democrats keep on dragging their feet and play the obstruction amusement, the opportunity has already come and gone for the Trump Organization to play a little hardball to get things down. Department of Homeland Security Secretary John Kelly has done quite recently that by informing individuals from Congress that the organization won't be twisting around in reverse to safeguard President Barack Obama's 2012 Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals amnesty program from lawful difficulties. Kelly dropped that news on individuals from the Democrat Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and he has only a straightforward demand for them to ensure the bill survives. To put it plainly, Kelly needs individuals from Congress to begin getting it done on an immigration bill that bodes well. Conservative Tribune has the scoop. Speaking in a closed-door meeting with members of the predominantly Democrat Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Kelly informed them that if they wanted to ensure the amnesty program survived, they would have to engage with the Republicans in a bipartisan bill of immigration bill to protect illegals legally. That appears like a genuinely basic demand. However, you can make certain that blood is bubbling on the left because of the firm position. That has a tendency to happen when the temperature gets swung up to awkward levels. Response to the news has been blended, without a doubt. This is what he's told by different attorneys, that if it goes to court it might not survive, DHS spokesman David LePan said about Kelly's remarks. If the Congress does not pass a bill protecting the program, they are leaving it in the hands of the courts to make a decision. It was just too much for a visibly shaken Illinois Representative Luis Gutierrez, who dramatically declared in both English and Spanish of the Attorney General, "Jeff Sessions will say, deport them." If you will count on Jeff Sessions to save DACA, then DACA is finished. Democrats will without a doubt contort Kelly's basic demand utilizing their protected fear-mongering strategies. In view of late examples of conduct from the party, it's protected to state that they'll exaggerate their hand once more. Ideally, the Trump Organization will keep on applying pressure on Democratic leaders to really begin completing things. As the obstructionists in Congress keep on acting like petulant children, the ideal opportunity for getting along is finished. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Conservative Tribune. The silence is broken. Susan Rice just drops shocking admission, look what she is blaming for the unmasking scandal. In this time of entitlement and victimhood, it is fascinating to take note of that many individuals today have turned out to be excessively okay with the thought that each slip-up, each stumble, each erroneous conclusion would all be able to be credited to blame or accuse lying any place yet for the person who really confers the mistake. The casualty attitude is surely a simple approach to clear yourself should you keep running into the issue of being gotten in your own lie or wrongdoings. Hillary Clinton made faulting anybody or whatever else for her deficiencies very nearly an autistic expression. Notwithstanding the actualities, surveys, and genuine measurements of the race comes about, the Russia conspiracy dream may nearly have worked. Oh dear, not so for some who have endeavored to fall back on the race, sexual orientation, or religion as the essential inspiration of their political foes. For instance, Susan Rice is not pointing the finger at herself or her bosses for the unmaking scandal, she is faulting racism and sexism of the privilege attempting to get to reality. Via the Blaze, former National Security Advisor Susan Rice is not taking one scintilla of blame for the furor over the unmasking scandal that has captured headlines and even grabbed the attention of President Donald Trump. Instead, she's blaming racism. Interviewer Michael Tomasky of the New York magazine proffered, it may have been because she was the Obama official who went out to various Sunday talk shows to blame the Benghazi attack on a YouTube video. Rice rejected this and offered another reason. Does it start there? She responded. And why me? Why not Jay Carney, for example, who was then our press secretary, who stood up more? Rice then cites the example of another African American woman in politics, Condoleezza Rice, who was excoriated. Let me just put it this way, she said. I do not leap to the simple explanation that it's just about race and gender. I'm trying to keep my theories to myself until I'm ready to come out with them. It's not because I do not have any. In the event that you review, Ambassador Susan Rice had slips amid the Benghazi kerfuffle that drove individuals to scrutinize her trustworthiness with different Sunday demonstrate appearances where she faulted the now scandalous video. While Rice claims she has been spooky by political rivals, what it comes down to is that congressional hearings are planned not to bring down a prominent African American female, yet to get to reality to check whether she did too sure overstep the law. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. H.T. Hillary, Obama cronies just dropped $4.8 million to settle claims for. The Clinton cartel has gotten heaps of gifts, and some from individuals with a sketchy business practice that outcome in trashy items being sold which don't face the cases made about them. Obviously, Barack and Hillary aren't excessively worried about the ethical respectability of the general population who give us totals to their decision battles, and President Obama was just excessively upbeat, making it impossible to pass out an undeserved honor when he named this lady Ambassador for Global Entrepreneurship. The lady, Elizabeth Holmes, who is the CEO of Theranos, a well-being tech organization situated in the Silicon Valley, is currently settling purchaser extortion cases to the tune of about $4.8 million for misrepresenting the accuracy of a blood testing device she marketed, which neglected to execute as guaranteed. According to the Washington Free Beacon, Elizabeth Holmes, a Clinton donor who was named Ambassador for Global Entrepreneurship under former President Barack Obama, settled with the state of Arizona for $4.8 million over consumer fraud claims. Holmes, 33, was the founder and CEO of Theranos, and privately owned Silicon Valley health tech company once valued at $9 billion. Theranos marketed the blood test known as the Edison device, which tested blood with a mere finger prick at lower costs. The blood test device ended up being inaccurate, leading Theranos and Holmes to cook the books to hide the floor test. Tyler Schultz, an employee of Theranos, uncovered the inaccuracy of the device and leaked the documents to save the reputation of his grandfather, former President Ronald Reagan's Secretary of State George Shultz. Theranos was reportedly using a shell company to secretly buy commercial lab equipment, and improperly created rosy financial projections for investors, according to the Wall Street Journal. Last week Holmes began to settle lawsuits with some Theranos victims. Theranos settled with the state of Arizona for $4.8 million over consumer fraud claims over the flawed Edison device blood tests. On Monday, the company agreed to a ban from operating clinical and retail test laboratories for 2 years to resolve claims filed by Medicare and Medicaid, the New York Post reported. Holmes was not shy about stepping into the political world. Former President Obama has invited Holmes to the White House and named her Ambassador for Global Entrepreneurship in 2015. Elizabeth Holmes is following in some admirable people's footsteps, since she and Hillary most likely have a great deal to examine about their unscrupulous business dealings. They can collaborate, and Hillary can teach Holmes on the better purposes of avoiding indictment. What do you think about this? Do not hesitate and write your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for reading. The Washington Free Beacon.